Yesterday I went over to the school and I walked the east wing, and I was up in both levels. There's a lot going on. They are hanging the metal for the suspended ceiling. They are painting walls. They are putting up plasterboard. All of the mineral wool is in, and things are looking pretty good.
Better than a few weeks ago.
I'm going to have another update tomorrow. So, yes, it looked like we were going to have a late opening, but hopefully everything will be back on time. We will, as I said, we were still meeting every Friday morning. It's incredible to look forward to looking back and saying we've been doing this for 3 years. It's almost there. Okay, we have to review and approve the minutes from June 6th. Take a quick look. Motion?
Make motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor of accepting the minutes for June 6th, say aye. Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain, sorry, I wasn't here. Okay. We have a project update. This time we'll see the project update from
We just did it. Okay. As Joe mentioned, everything is happening in all phases of the construction. There's still some rough work that's happening. We have closed in. We have finishes going on. Things like we have paint colors on the wall. We have primer in other areas. We have ceilings going in. Final floors are going in bathrooms. The bathroom walls are getting tiled. Normally there would be a rough to close in to finishes, and because of our mold event, it's taken this project a little bit out of that sequence, but it's still in the sequence. And what has been discussed and talked about at the building construction meetings is working the job from the top down, delivering as many classrooms as possible up front for that 23rd date, which right now was the substantial completion date. The mold event has caused an issue, but it is being pulled in. And tomorrow we'll have a deeper update, but I don't think we are as far out as was originally forecasted. The project worked this entire past weekend, and a lot got pulled in. It was worked specifically to get the exterior walls that have been impacted because of the mold that was discovered back to where they were in-place walls. And that was accomplished, and now they're going through the process of on the upper levels finishing them, and they're still closing in the last of them on the first floor.
I was just going to say, correct me, I'm not sure how much this group has heard about what we call the mold.
I was going to say that. I know we've talked about it and I have it on the list here. Okay. We've talked about it at the Board of Selectmen level, and I know a lot of people look in on those hearings. When we got to a certain point in the demolition of the east wing, at the particularly the lower level, there was evidence of black mold. We brought the hygienist in, it was tested, and it was quantified as the type of mold that you needed to remove, and not just clean and scrub, but you needed to remove the materials. That meant removing initially what we thought was the entire lower east walls on the north side. And what it ultimately turned into was the same event on the south side of the Lower East, as well as the upper floor, east and west side. There was no issue in the gym. There was no issue in the corridors. It was an event that was mostly triggered or all triggered by a combination of the unit ventilators, persistent roof leaks, and other issues that took place or events that took place over time. The costs have all been quantified. The Board of Selectmen, because it was over my delegated authority, Joe's individual delegated authority, and it went at the Board of Selectmen level. The good news is that I've been working with the insurance carriers. The project had building insurance as well as builder's risk insurance, and the builder's risk carrier has been reviewing the project, and I asked the question the last time I met with them, which was about 7 days ago, that it was an insurable event. They have 90% of the costs. I'm waiting for some costs for the fees associated with the hygienist and all the testing. And so I honestly don't know or remember what the deductible might be on the project, but the event will be covered.
How much was the cost?
Right now, we're talking around $160,000 to $170,000.
Yeah, just so you know, it's not going to be covered under the property.
Correct. It's strictly under the
builder's
right,
risk.
because yes,
we did try to file a claim on that.
yes, and I kind of disagree with they denied it because they said it was a prolonged event, and I said to them, describe to me what prolonged event is. You don't know if this was from last winter, because we had those tremendous leaks last winter where we had to go up there and do a whole bunch of band-aiding of that roof because it was pouring in everywhere.
Right.
Anyone in the East Wing that day was affected.
Yes.
So there was a lot of So, pushing that aside, the builder's risk portion of the insurance that the town carries is stepping in and looking to, once they finish their analysis of the costs we've submitted and the square footages and everything else, they have led me to believe that they are covering the costs.
I think it's important to note too, I've had several conversations with folks about why didn't we know about this? And so there was testing done. So the tricky part of this was that it was behind on the wall board behind the finish, so it wasn't visible. Air testing didn't pick it up, so that speaks to the fact that the question of, so has my child been sitting in mold? Have the teacher's been teaching with mold for the past 10 years? And the reality is the air quality testing did not bear that out. It was once we pulled everything apart that it came in and was visible. So ironically, it's the newest portion of the building that says something about the way we build things now. But it was not something that we could have foreseen. It was just a reality of the unit ventilators that will never be existing in the world again.
Is it just walls, Larry?
Just walls.
No ceiling or floor?
Well, we took out all the ceilings. That's how we started. We've taken out all the ceilings. It didn't impact the roof. The roof deck structure, which is in that wing, it's all metal. It's not the technium, and it's not wood. It's metal. So none of that was impacted. It didn't come into the corridors, so all the corridor walls, those remained, have remained in place, except for the modifications that the project is requiring. It was just the perimeter walls, and it was, some of it was on sills for the room air conditioners that over time might have frozen up, leaked, water got on the sills, got in. The areas behind them, you got those long unit ventilator units, and then anything up above at the roof that came down. It impacted the drywall, it impacted the wall insulation, and as part of the process, they removed all that material, they cleaned the cavities, they used a product that they refer to as Shockwave, which encapsulates and is an inhibitor to the growth. And then after all that was done, we came back in and retested to make sure that what was needed to be accomplished was accomplished. And we've been able to move on. Then we had some material delays in getting the product that we needed to fill the cavities. Like I said, it has put the schedule back or advanced the turnover. A good portion of it has been pulled back, and we'll hear better tomorrow at our construction meeting where we are scheduled.
Before we look ahead, what is the status of the ballast roof replacement now?
It's about 40%. They started that at the beginning of the week, and that's all the ballast is gone.
It is.
All the ballast is gone. All the new HVAC curbs for the new units. Those are in place. Not the smaller vents and things like that, but the steel for the larger units. Those are all in place. Those units are going up the end of this week. I don't know if it's a Saturday pick or it's Monday. I've heard different dates, but each platform is ready for the unit to be put in place. And the roofers are up there as we speak, and they're putting in the new roof.
And the material has been on site?
Material's been on site, been stored in that parking lot, and now it's all, if you drive by, you'll see it, at least a portion of it, because a lot of it's in place, sitting up on the roof.
So you talked about potential delays. Can you just kind of spell that out?
There was a date forecasted of September, about 2 weeks, September 13th, and then at last week's meeting we talked about pulling it in where we got the entire second floor of the East Wing completed, and maybe things like the media center, the library, and a couple of classrooms down there on the first floor might be delayed. I think as we continue to move through where we're at, these dates are all going to I don't think there's anything. And Tom isn't here to defend himself, but I don't think there's anything that would stop the entire upper wing, the upper floor of the East Wing, from being completed, and by the 23rd. And I don't think if we're out a day or two. That's my opinion.
I think that was fair that he had said that it was maybe it leads into that next week,
right?
But it's not leading up that whole second week
of
prior to Labor Day. Right? It's certainly not going into this stuff.
And behind the scenes, we've been doing all sorts of what ifs and working through with the different suppliers for things like FF&E and other equipment that will be filtering in to complete the classrooms. The technology folks were on site today, and even though they usually come in later when it's finished, they've started in the gym, and they're going to roll through all the classrooms because the pathways are there. The walls aren't necessarily finished, but the pathways are there, and they'll hang their finished equipment later on. What they normally do is they wait till everything gets finished and they do their wiring, and then they hang their equipment. But they're going to come in early, wire it, so then all they have to do is hang the technology. As part of the project, we have a commissioning agent that the MSBA hires on, I'll say our behalf, but they pay for them, and they confirm that everything that has been put in place on a mechanical side of things, or even roofing and building envelope meets the performance standards established in the drawings. They were on site today, and they will check out phase 4, and they will be back in another 3 weeks to look at phase 5. As well as do what will end up happening is for the mechanicals, the entire project, once everything is in place, will get recommissioned for the heating and ventilating. the windows and the walls and things like that, the roof. Once they're done, they're done. The one thing that works as a unified system is the HVAC. And even though the wings are isolated, there's enough common area that everything needs to be looked at as a complete package, which they haven't because it hasn't been completed to date.
And we get one last furniture delivery for phase five.
Correct.
Towards the end of the
23rd, yeah. And we've looked at if we have to push it into the weekend, and so we're managing all the pieces that make up the project, so that we just don't get the building built and then we put this off and when can we get it back type of thing. The schedule that everybody has is the last one that was issued last Friday at the construction meeting. It's already obsolete. We'll get a new one. We'll get a new one next tomorrow. We'll repost it for everyone. We'll send out as a direct email, or I think the SharePoint is back up and running. But if it's not, we've had some IT problems back at the home ranch, and we'll just send it out as a PDF. It's not a big document, so everybody will have it. It'll be the latest and greatest for the next 4 weeks, even though we're only 5 weeks to 23rd. Site work is ongoing, and changing the radiuses at the entrance is starting this weekend. But they've installed new septic structures. They're working on the new leaching field and ball field, because the two sit on top of each other. One sits on top of the other. The new playground is in place in terms of curbing. The new play structures are being built and are sitting out there. They paved the site today for all the roadways that remained, which was the fire access around the south of the building, and then the fire access, which would be around the east wing to the play area just outside the gym, and the south side of the east wing, where it'll have plinko ball, hopscotch, and that was all bound today with asphalt. And the next time they come in, they'll put finish coat on the entire site, and then stripe it. That date we've played with, because what we don't want it down so soon that we still have a lot of heavy equipment running over it and chewing it up. The binder you don't mind as much, because you can always re-roll it and replace it. The roofers are still ripping the old roof, so there is a tractor rig that is taking out that debris. So I'd rather them, and the contractor would rather that they run on the existing binder than the finish. It most likely will be mid-August. But by the time school starts, it will be. I believe it will be on finished pavement. I will defer to tomorrow's schedule for that. I can go on and on about all the little things, and if there's anybody have any questions. Literally every corner of the building is being worked.
The water line for the fire hydrant, that's complete?
It's in. It's in. Board of Selectmen authorized that work.
And they compacted that trench pretty good, you think? They compacted the trench pretty good?
Yep. And we've had so much truck traffic making deliveries that nothing has moved. Before all the pavement went in, we had our testing agency, UTS. They came in and did complete compaction on testing on all the roadway areas, as well as the trench area before it was filled. The trench was filled a couple of days earlier, and that was tested.
I know that we talked, and I'll bring it up at tomorrow's meeting too, but I do have that large copy paper delivered.
Yep.
the week of August 6th.
We should be able to accommodate. I mean, it's just a matter of picking a doorway to bring it in.
Yeah, and if it becomes problematic for access, we can work with WB Mason. And then we have a district load-in from the other schools on the 20th of August. So I'm hoping the pavement's done by then. But we can monitor that on a weekly basis.
The paving will not be done by the 6th. By the 20th. By the 20th. But I think your next delivery is not really heavy. It's probably lighter.
No, it's copy paper.
I thought August 6th was the day for delivery.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
And the other was just
20th is district equipment, special ed equipment that's being consolidated, has been held off, being delivered there, and will be delivered on the 20th. And I wanted to do it earlier, but we waited just so there's not as much activity going on, and maybe the AP room gets a little freed up.
There's a fair amount of white space in the AP room now, and if we had to rework it,
it's not a large amount of equipment.
Yeah, it's
20-foot watch.
Yeah, that's all lightweight. So I'm not.
No, that is correct. That is lightweight, but the copy paper.
I think the bigger challenge with the copy paper is just which doorway to bring it in, because ultimately it needs to get muscled around. Because one of the things that we've done to protect the areas that have already been completed, we've petitioned off the interior of the school. So, for instance, you can't go from the admin wing and the north wing and walk into the east wing. You have to go out of the building and come around through 1200. But to get into the south wing, you have to walk all the way around past the loading dock of the kitchens to get into the building. All those pathways have been closed off. So.
And I've, like we've done every year, coordinated with WB Mason the logistics of liftgate, electronic pallet jack. So
yeah, it's more once we get it in. It's once we get it into the school. The south wing has removable mullions, so we could bring, we can pull it right in pallet wise, and then the door to get you into upper south. I forget the door numbers, but that has a removable mullion also. But it only gets you into the vestibule, and then from there you're breaking it down and moving.
Frank will be back at the 5th, so he'll be able to.
And likewise for the north wing. And maybe, depending on how many pallets of paper there are, we can have them just drop a pallet at the north wing and a pallet at the south wing.
As long as it gets offloaded to an interior location.
But there you go. The bigger challenge, as I say, will be once you get into the building. And the pallets are going to have to get broken down. We won't have the luxury of what we've had in the past.
So Frank said he could make that work because I gave him the option. I said, Frank, we want to hold off on this. The thing is, we got a collaborative bid. We request a collaborative we belong to, and you have to buy X amount.
Right.
So you don't get their pricing. Thank you. I'll monitor that as the weeks go on.
And I know Triton IT has asked just about schedules. They need to do some plugging in of equipment. And I've told them the week of the 20th is still a good time for them to come in and tune up the MDF room and the IDF room that's associated with the east wing.
How'd that air conditioner hold up that we took and brought
It's working like a charm.
Awesome.
It is providing cool air in that room.
I haven't forgotten about that. We want that back.
I'm sure you do, and I'll make sure you get it back.
Right.
I'll make sure you get it back.
That's a good backup for everything.
Yep. No, it's working very, very well.
Yeah. It's a portable air conditioning unit that cools very nicely.
Yeah, I forget how many BTUs. It's more than 5,000.
It's 18,000.
Okay, I knew it had up there.
Okay, we have an update on the site, the entry.
They're starting that work this weekend.
This weekend,
yeah.
Power will be off Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon.
to Saturday afternoon.
Correct.
Water, city water, is still on.
Yes, city water's on. Actually, last night, town of Raleigh cut in 2 new valves in Main Street. So it was off temporarily. Yes, last night. It's back on.
When will we shut down to connect into the new system?
They're still working the site. They're working on the leach field now.
So when the water goes down, it'll be several days?
A day or two. What's happening now is it's just going into the tanks because there's enough capacity in the tank. But they've started the process of excavation for the new leach field, and as they move across, they then get into the existing leach field where a portion of it is taken for the new, and the rest is just abandoned in place.
Requisition update.
The last requisition, 15, has been... Oh, wait. We skipped.
FF&E, you touched on a lot of it. We're still hopefully tracking for the 23rd. But as Larry mentioned, we've been working with the companies to kind of just find out if things had to slide, how they would slide, and the best way to do that. So there's a couple different ways it can go right now. We're still tracking for the 23rd, that Friday. We do know we asked about the added cost to deliver on a weekend. So we have that as an option if we have to go there. So a couple different things we're working on, but right now that's where it's tracking. And if we have to do it in... So...
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know at the end of the school year there was some question about the first grade teachers' chairs.
We're working through that. We're working through that issue.
Those are ones that are going from 13 inches to 15.
The 15s, yes. We're looking at securing 15-inch chairs.
Anything else?
Any other?
Questions on furniture?
I could keep you here for 2 hours just running through lists, but I'd rather just...
Hey Larry, do we have some dispensers yet in the classrooms?
They haven't distributed them yet, but that's...
Are they on site?
Not to my knowledge, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't. There's deliveries on a daily basis, and I honestly don't track each and every one of them. But
People are
I
very
will
concerned.
I will check on that. Yes, I know. Believe me, I know. I see the teachers' faces every day. Every day. Requisition, the most recent requisition, number 15, has been submitted, and within the next, 8-9 days, I should get another one, which will be
16.
Probably like probably about 3 more, and then we'll be in the closeout of the project.
Do we have MSBA paperwork?
No, we have no paperwork at this time. I probably guess next week Karen will have the signatures for the submittal on 15.
Future meeting date.
That's up to the committee. We're still in summer.
Since it's heavy construction season, I'd rather it be sooner than later. If we push this out to the next month at the same time, it's the end of the project. I mean, it's,
A lot of stuff happening right now, too. So.
I know I'm putting you for that.
Couple weeks, maybe.
I'm if you want to meet twice a month,
I think it's good to be back by like mid-August so we can.
I'm for whatever date. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Like August 15th at 4 o'clock here? It's a Thursday?
That's fine.
Not available.
I won't be available.
Switch it to Tuesday.
What's that, August 15th?
Tuesday, August 13th of that week? Is it
We'll meet on Tuesday, no?
Yep.
Wednesday?
I'm teaching school that week, so I won't be available that week.
Could we have it on the entire
To the 8th, just so that it's 2 weeks out rather than, the 15th is, again, almost, it's a week from that 23rd date that Larry keeps referring to.
I can do the 8th.
The 8th? I'm fine with
Dennis?
I'll be out.
Anybody else have a problem with the 8th?
4 p.m. here? 4 p.m. Thursday, August 8th.
Thursday, August 8th here, 4 o'clock.
Wednesday? It's a Thursday. No, I know the 8th is Thursday. I just didn't know if Thursday worked. I mean, Wednesday worked for anyone. As I say, I'll be here. If we want to meet every week, just to do update, that's fine. That's fine.
The 8th at 4. Anything else?
I just wanted to make note, and I don't know if anybody's heard about it. OSHA did a random inspection to the site at Pine Grove School, and I give W.T. Rich a lot of credit. They only had 2 corrective actions cited. Is that correct?
Yes, and they were on existing construction elements of the original school.
It was very minor, and it is something they take very seriously. And W.T. Rich has an excellent safety team, so they did well. And that, given the timing, the last thing this project needed was a setback with safety issues, and it's something that needed to be created. Either work cease and desist, or there was a delay in progress, which did not happen. So that's to W.T. Rich's credit. I just wanted to make that note for the record.
A question. In that we're effectively going to be opening this for the start of school, is there a plan to officially open it? I mean, traditionally when you have a new big building, there's some sort of a
fanfare.
Yes. Rather than just having kids walk in the doors and welcome them in.
I think that's something Christine should be a part of discussing.
Yep.
I don't know if we haven't talked about it as a school, but I know there's going to be a lot of a mad rush for the Holy Spring people moving in, so I don't know about like before school, but maybe sometime in September, that's something we could look at.
Yeah, I just think we need to start planning it soon.
Yeah.
If there's going to be one, because
The whole town's going to cost
So
you.
the ribbon cutting ceremony.
yeah, something similar. Ribbon cutting tours, something,
Ooh, interesting. How about we do it with the spaghetti dinner?
Yes, which we don't know what date on that is.
We don't have dates yet.
Oh, we don't know what date.
We're attempting,
Decide.
there's 4 coordinators this year, so they've been trying to coordinate the first meeting, and I think they finally have one for next week, so.
You got
We attended that.
you got delayed last year because of it.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, so this year we're in the fall, good to go, yeah.
But if we could do that, I know when they're planning on having it, do tours, spaghetti dinner. Maybe ceremonial ribbon opening.
Yep.
Or
And Christine's usually there for that anyway, so we'd be on board with that. And I'd like to, the earlier in the year, the better for the spaghetti dinner anyway with the
Is that after their
money.
day, actually?
If parent night is early in September, yes.
What I'm used to seeing sometimes is you just open, call it a soft opening, and then, 3 or 4 weeks in, you have a grand opening.
Like an official.
And adjust the hours so that it's not, say at the beginning of school, it's, in an early evening, similar to what we did when we did the open house.
Yeah, I don't think we want to combine a celebration of the opening of the whole building with the actual opening of school. I think everyone back, everyone enjoying it,
There'll probably be,
moved in, will be settled in.
there'll be lots of boxes, I'm sure, to go places.
And
And I'm
3 or 4 weeks in, it should be, right, all the kinks have been worked out, and we can do tours of the entire facility, and everyone will be excited and in their final resting place. In their final moving place.
Ryan, do we have big scissors in the district? We need big scissors to cut the
Sure, we can
ceremonial
find it.
ribbon.
I'm not aware of any big scissors we own,
Okay, well, we
but
gotta work on that.
we can figure it out.
We have hedge trimmers.
Yeah, no, I do think
Get
it would
nasty.
make sense to do a big celebration. I think it's a long time coming, and I think a lot of people would like to come out and celebrate.
Yeah, I just don't want it to slip by or have it be in November.
Yeah.
No, I think September would be ideal, if not early October.
Yeah, I think late September is perfect.
Late September.
I think our teachers need to survive September, right? And that
Yeah.
week that ticks in
wanna get them
September and October, somewhere in there, is absolutely perfect.
Put that on the agenda for the 8th.
Jane, maybe the prop, you can make a regular size hedge trimmers and you just, they're like the prop queen, right? Cardboard, make it look really large.
Or we could actually line up a kid from every grade at Pine Grove and have them all cut the Sarah Miller Road with just regular scissors. Like you can see the progression from pre-K all the way up. That'd be adorable. I'm thinking, always thinking photo wall.
I think it would
Rather
be
than invite Brad Hill and Bruce Starr.
Of course, they'll be there.
Yeah, I know.
Even if you don't,
Start that.
I think it would be nice to bring an alumni too. I'm just
I
talking.
was going to say, the alumni that I've spoken to are very interested. They haven't seen the new design theme. They're very interested in seeing it.
It was the top of my 10-year reunion.
well, when the seniors came back, so the graduating class of 19, when they came back for their
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
they all came back.
Or even
The
for the
class I hear
read.
so much from is the PGS class of 1970. They're sixth graders in 1970, and I have had multiple of them in me.
Really?
Fun
Fun story. My husband finished at Pine Grove back in. And he was very confused when he came into Maeve had something when she was in sixth grade. He's like, wait, what is this room? You're in the gym? He's like, dude, this wasn't here when you were there. He's like, he got all confused. He's like, wait a minute, is this here? I'm like, no, this was not here when you were here. So there's,
I think even the removal of the ceremonial net, that dish that's been on that back east wing since before the internet, before you could dial into the internet before it was connected. Even that, I think it's gone. Put that in the museum.
Yeah, I think that one's gone.
I think May Kelly liked
The weather station though is still is up there. Well, actually, that needs to go back. I understand somebody gets a monthly call that, do you know that your telemetry is down? You know, since we started I think WBZ.
WBZ, it's a National Weather Service.
Yeah.
Who do they call? Who do they call?
I'm not sure, but I'll get an email. Okay.
Oh, okay. Because when we study weather, we often use it. But now it's down third grade, we'll be more likely to be using that weather bug as frequently.
And it's now, I think the closest spot is Triton. There's one in Triton too. So nice to find the guys.
Yes.
Okay, motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?